Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Trauma Translator. I'm your host, Lauren Friedman, and today I'm really excited to be joined by Yebra, CEO, president, and founder of QRFup, helping veterans, first responders, and families in crisis get the support, the help, and services they need, finding the light in the darkness. But before we start our show today, I'm going to just be sharing a little bit of a mantra that I just opened up that is inspiring me right now, and I hope it inspires you too. Today, I'm leaving space for joy for myself. And sometimes we feel that we have to overextend ourselves or beat ourselves up over the things that we've done, and we just have to figure out how to move forward, process, and really from like a somatic standpoint, and then move forward versus just beating ourselves up. So that's a lesson for today. Also, one of my favorite "How are you healing?" Habits of the week is one of my brand partners is Camuso and the shift necklace. And Camuso actually allows you to shift into calm, breathe into calm. It allows you to reset your breath in a moment when you're having a hyper arousal moment and you can't figure out how to reset your body. So before we dive in today, I just want to share with you how I have been using the Camuso shift for the last several years. I originally found it at my trauma retreat on-site workshops in 2022. And when I wear it, it works. And when I don't wear it, I forget to breathe. So please join me for a 4-4-8 breath. It's 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, and then 8 seconds out. And the whole goal here is to reduce your anxiety level in real time. You're able to actually shift your heart variability rate down, lower your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, and also just really be able to get into that parasympathetic state of a rest and digest. Now, this alone may or may not work in a moment, but it's one of the tools, one of the how are you healing habits that I personally am using and that I definitely recommend everyone should use. So let's do it together. Inhale for 4. And the whole goal here is to not have it make any sound. You know you're doing it right when your exhale is slow and it doesn't have a whistle to it. So this is great. There's also fidget toys for kids. There's something for everybody. Camuso is truly one of my favorite brand partners, and I'm just excited to share this with you all today. You could also find 15% off on the whygoproject.com collabs in wellness. You'll see it right at the top, Camuso. And right now, I'd like to welcome Ram from QRFup. Hi, Ram. How are you? I think you're on mute. Oh, no. So Ram was actually having some technical difficulties because of major storms in Iowa where he lives. So he won't be able to be sharing his video screen right now, but he will hopefully be hopping back on. Ram, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, welcome. Welcome to the Trauma Translator Live. Are you there? Oh, no. No, you're a little bit crunchy. Do you want to log off and come back on? So Ram's just going to drop, but we're really excited to have him on today. A little bit of background for QRFup. It's quick reaction force. And I always say response. That's why I had to pause. But QRFup and I have been partners since 2024. And it's an organization that's really special to me personally, as no one would ever think. Hey, Ram, are you there?
I'm back. Oh, my
Awesome.
goodness.
Welcome.
Finally back. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's been fun.
Yeah. Well, such is life. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey today.
So my name is Ramses. I've been through quite the journey, which is why I love the Why Go project, because it's significant to me. Which is why I love that Why Go project, because it's so significant to me. I really, really strive to stick around and really help other brothers and sisters with suicide prevention. That is my biggest battle. Um, but I feel like I come from it from a different standpoint. I come from it from a very vulnerable place where we are not perfect. We are not the most pristine type of individuals at times, and we make mistakes. Sometimes we take 10 steps back only to get those 15 steps forward again, and sometimes two. But we keep fighting and we keep doing what we can, and that's our whole mission, is to just be the light in the darkness for people. Perfection is never a real thing, and we will keep taking steps to stay in this realm.
No, that's really beautiful. And I know this is a really personal journey for you, as it is for me, right? And that's kind of why we ended up collaborating, because as I was saying, when you had dropped off, like, no one would ever think that I, as someone with my background, I've never had any military service. My dad was actually worked in a veterans hospital before I was born. So I truly do believe that this is being guided by suicide spirit guides, as I lost him to suicide. And the doctor that solved almost 4 decades of disparate somatic responses to trauma also lost her father to suicide before she was my doctor, when she was just my friend from CrossFit. And in the CrossFit fitness community, I really got a lot of exposure to Marines. And, thank you so much for your service and all the work that you've done, both in and out of the Marines. But I really began to understand how similar my somatic response is, my body response is to trauma, which is just stress that overwhelms your ability to cope. And that looks different for everybody. That like the general public is to veterans. So one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about having you on and sharing your mission is because it's truly a deeper understanding of how humanity works when we all think about all these responses are so similar. So can you just share a little bit about your time in the service and your inspiration for QRFup?
Yeah. So for me, my time in the service, was very, very important. I come from a military family. My father was a Marine. My grandfather was a Marine. It was just something that we all kind of did, and it just felt like the right step to go into. Served and with a great unit. We saw a lot of different situations. Combat was definitely at the forefront of that. And I met a lot of great men. And, coming out of the service is what really propelled me to create QRFup. I have a lot of great brothers that have really assisted me in that. There's men like Matthew Couch, Peter Flom, those men that um, taught me how to be a better brother. And this application really speaks to that, because when everything goes super dark in our world, we always think that we're alone, but at a push of a button, we really truly have somebody there for us. And it's one of us, right? It's a brother, a medical professional, whatever that may be. But for me, my foundation that was steamed in military service really took off after that, to really help our brothers and sisters get out of their darkness, and know that they'll never be alone, that they have somebody always with them that understands them, that knows that they're not bad people, that they're not evil, they're not whatever society has told them. They're more than that. They're our feelings are not who we are. Our mistakes are not who we are. Sometimes we treat people really judgmentally for how they react emotionally to things that they maybe have never been taught or educated on how to handle in the most healthy manner. And we can be very, very mean to each other. And I think that's one of the things that I'm really trying to heal here is, you know nobody knows enough to be able to judge you or treat you a certain way that you can't be loved.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. I just respect you, your journey, and why you're doing all of this, because I couldn't agree more. One of the main missions that I'm doing, as part of the Why Go project, and one of the reasons why you and I have been collaborating, is to really redefine the human experience through the lens of trauma and help people get through those really hard times in an embodied somatic way, right? Because we haven't ever been taught how to human, and we end up internalizing everything and then losing our sometimes, because even when we're trying to do everything perfectly, we're human beings. We're not human doings. We can't do everything perfect all the time. And we do need to give ourselves grace, and we aren't monsters. And there's just so much overlap between your story and my story. Can you share a little bit about, if you don't mind, about why suicide prevention is your personal mission?
Yeah. So for me, it started with my brother Travis, super important, served in the Marine Corps as well. His life ended in 2011, and then having more brothers and sisters follow in those footsteps of, feeling that the only way out was by suicide. And I know that sometimes it feels like that might be the answer for us, only because, you know, like I said, we are really drilled into our heads that when we make a mistake or, when we falter, that we are incapable of coming back from those things. And I really think that that is the biggest issue for me is uh, not only why I created the app or why this app came to fruition, but um, changing the mentality behind how we treat each other, truly allowing people to, make mistakes and, heal their inner child. And, that was something that I don't think was given or afforded to a lot of my friends. They weren't allowed to feel, they weren't allowed to um, really be deep in what they felt their biggest mistakes were, their darkness was. Maybe some of that might be remorse. And, as men and women, when we make mistakes, we ruminate a lot and we really, really get into that um, remorse and stick in that, right? We stay stuck. So being able to help people out of that is one of the biggest things. Coming in from the darkness into the light is not just a motto. It's not just something we say. It's a reality. It takes a real strong person to face themselves and say, you know what, I fucked up. I did something wrong. And I'm gonna now face it and I'm gonna fix it. And I'm gonna do my best to not repeat that in a healthy way, but maybe do it in a way where it also teaches others how to be better for themselves. And that's the whole concept behind the app, right? We're not better than anybody. We're not going to do it alone. We're not trying to be the number one app or anything like that. If anything, we're always seeking partnerships and friendships to help us collaborate to save more lives. We know that this is a stone for suicide prevention, but it's going to take the whole world to really heal each other.
No, that's absolutely beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing your inspiration and your journey. And I don't think I even knew your brother's name until today. So sending prayers to Travis. Also, February, one of the reasons I'm so excited to talk to you during this month and to reboot the Trauma Translator Live is really, it's a suicide spirit guided mission. My father's birthday is actually February 13th. And I really have been focused on my whole life is trying to destigmatize mental health, because like you were just referring to, it's not that people are bad or that they they're harmful. It's that they haven't been given the right resources and the right education to move forward. Traditional psychotherapy, even if you've been afforded that luxury, which not a lot of people have, there's stigmas around that, but traditional psychotherapy doesn't take into account the mind body connection. It only takes into account the mind. So you need to get out of your body, out of your mind, out of your head, and into your body, is what you were just talking about from a rumination standpoint. And when you get stuck in those cycles of survival, like you were just talking about, when you start ruminating and you've been exposed to all of these things that make you feel so isolated and alone in your journey, suicide and just maladaptive behaviors that once used to save you, then become deadly to you. And I know firsthand what it feels like to feel like the most alone person in the world. And I started asking for more and more help recently. And I even started going to Al-Anon meetings because, I need as much help as possible. So I really respect what you're doing for the veteran and first responder community and their families. And can you tell us a little bit more about the app and what the app does from a QRFup standpoint?
Yeah, so the application works super simple, right? Once you download it, there's two-step verification.
Wait, I think you're a little bit,
Wait a minute, let me-
I think you might need to log, yeah. He's gonna be right back. This is what happens when you live stream. Sometimes it works, sometimes he doesn't. It doesn't, but he'll be right back. And I'm really excited for him to share a little bit more in his own words, because I could tell you till the cows come home what this is about, but this is his own personal heart-led mission. And the reason that I love partnering with QRFup is that it's helping people on the ground. It's helping, like, those monies are literally saving lives. And one of the things that Ram and I are working on is partnering in a deeper capacity. They have something called the Hero Complex that they're launching in different states. It's going to be starting in Iowa, which is where QRFup is headquartered. And we're also, as a strategic partner for the whole year of 2026, all the proceeds from merch with a perk, that's purpose, all proceeds that a portion of the proceeds that will be donated to the synergistic nonprofits that I'm partnering with will be donated to QRFup and their mission, because it's so important to help people in crisis. And they have a way through their app to actually help people on the ground get those services and make them feel less alone. And the hero complexes are ways to help people get out of their heads and into their bodies in a somatic embodied fashion. And that's really the missing link in all support these days, that anybody could have, is the somatic link to getting into your body and how you can move through things differently. And like he was saying, there is literally no perfect solution. There's no perfect person. You're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to, take 18 steps back to take 3 steps forward. But this is what life is. We're not perfect
Ah,
humans. Like, nobody's perfect. Welcome back.
sorry. Yeah, this weather sucks here. But yeah, so to back on to the app, so the way it functions is super simple. We partnered up with 988 because their services are a little harder to navigate when people are in crisis. So we thought about it in a simpler, much faster way. You hit a button, it really literally activates a therapist. Once the therapist jumps online, starts talking to the veteran, first responder, or family member, they're able to get them off the ledge, get them down to a safety plan, and a plan in general as to how they can go through their crisis. Once they resolve that issue, if they can do it over the phone, they will activate that plan. If they can't, our therapist will activate a quick reactionary force. That's what QRF stands for, quick reactionary force, comprised of peer-to-peer support specialists, people like myself, yourself, and so on, people that really just want to be able to be there for someone and talk to them. We never involve law enforcement. We don't report to any type of authorities. We try to really resolve this in a really, really quiet way, where we can actually help a individual feel like they can reach out for help at any point in time, as many times as they need it, time and time again. So that's the nitty gritty of it. It's just it's an actual button that you press on a screen, sending out an SOS to therapists, and they answer.
I mean, that's beautiful, because, as you know, more than I do, right? I only know from my friends and working with groups like you and other types of veterans and first responders organizations. But the VA is really hard to get through. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and your ability to get people on the ground, on the phone, get that support right now when people are in crisis is so needed. And can you just tell us a little bit about beyond just the crisis portion of it? Because you're doing so much more than just people in crisis. Because when people hear like suicide prevention and in the moment things, I found personally, and I don't know if you share this sentiment, but I found that people are like, that's not me. I don't want to be part of this. Like, I'm never going to need that. And even if they're, just the general public, they're not a veteran. That's what I've been hearing a lot. So can you just talk about a little bit more too about the support that you also provide beyond just those in crisis moments? Because you're doing so much work, and I want to really make sure that the audience hears all the amazing things that you're doing to help others.
Yeah, for sure. So it's there it is a very in-depth plan that we go through. So we try to get to the root of whatever that individual is going through. We provide legal services, financial services, emotional services, nutritional services, housing stability, employment stability, education stability. Man, the list can go on. We have anything that we thought any type of trauma bonded person is going through. We try to really break that. And we don't do it in the traditional way, with talk therapy. Although we do have talk therapists, we like to do effective work, like HBOT, hyperbaric chambers. We get people into ibogaine, all sorts of different things, because not every individual is going to heal the same way, and not every individual wants to be treated the same way. They want their own treating, their own plan for how they see that working, right? Everybody has their own individual schedule, their own thoughts on, what they think of therapies, or the VA or vet centers, or all sorts of different things, right? And we want to give them that ability to really mold their plan to how they see it work for them and their family, because that's the biggest thing, right? We don't only help the individual, we help the whole family, because there's no purpose to healing one person if there's still people at home that are not happy with the situation.
No,
We
that's
want to make sure
absolutely
that the
beautiful.
spouses are healed. Yeah, it's a nucleus, right? The whole family has to work together.
Yeah, nothing works in ice in silo, right? That's the whole point of my mission, your mission, and our combined forces is to really be able to help people in a holistic way. And I love that because like one of the use cases that you shared with me from the beginning was like a man in crisis, right? Who needs to move out of his home and where does he go in the middle of the night, and he's leaving and he's fleeing his home and like he doesn't have money or whatever those obstacles are. You're actually helping reduce those barriers for those people in crisis. And you're right, it is the nucleus of the family. It's not one person. Healing cannot happen in silo. It needs to have support. We need to be witnessed. And when you're just witnessed by somebody, even if it's in the smallest way, connection changes everything. It's one of the
Oh
mantra
yeah.
moments that I have. So I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, I like to call it trauma networking. People call it trauma bonding, but it's not necessarily bonding, because you're networking. Everybody has some sort of trauma, but it's the way that you use that trauma to benefit others. So you network it, and you make sure that you give that purpose of your story to somebody else, right? Everybody has a story, and everybody has a reason why they're doing this, why they're here today. And it serves everybody. It serves myself, it serves you, it serves everyone. So being able to have that purpose behind how we do things, our modalities are very they have a purpose. They don't just serve for collaborating with people. You are one of our biggest collaborators that we enjoy, because you come from a place where you understand us, without any actual, what I would call judgments. And that's the thing that we all want at the end of the day, is that judgment free zone where we can send our brothers and sisters to, and they can just get that healing.
Wow, thank you. So I got first of all, I've had chills the whole time you've been talking, even before you dropped off. But that's so meaningful to me because I do try. I don't judge anybody for what has for what they've been through because I've been through so many things, and that's why I love working with you and your community and men in general have always come to me for support. Since I was a child, I basically was my dad's consigliere, and so I don't judge. I understand what it's like to be a human. I understand that like I knew since I was under the age of 5 that my life was not going to be easy. So I never had any false pretenses about life. I didn't know it was going to be this hard, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy. And so when people are in crisis, I really do try to take a judgment-free zone, especially. And it is really hard to human. It is hard to ask for support. Like you and I have even I spent Thanksgiving alone this year, and you sent me pictures from your Thanksgiving, and like it was really nice to just be there for each other. So it's beautiful to partner with somebody who's really living the work, and like I am too. And it's hard. We're not perfect. We've been going through it every day, but we're able to take what you call trauma networking. I think that's really cool. I call, you know, connection changes everything. Survival is your superpower. Survival as a superpower. Survival mode as a superpower, because you can take those things and help others with it, but not until you find any type of safety in yourself. So the whole goal here is to help find healing and safety in yourself and then be able to help others, right? And I think that that's really beautiful. Can you talk a little bit? I was when you were relogging on and off, I was telling I was talking about the hero complex and what we were working on together. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that, because I know that, like, when you were talking about all the different modalities, there's so many things that you're doing to help veterans and first responders and their families. So can you just talk a little bit about that project?
Yeah. So the hero complexes are essentially places where we are trying to not.
Oh no, I think you just broke up a little bit. Do you want to log on and log back off again? Log off and on again? Oh, he'll be right back. Uh, just as he got to the good parts. This is what happens sometimes. This is life, right? But it's really a cool thing that they're doing, and the way that he and I even met is like definitely suicide spirit guided. I just think that all of the things that QRFup is doing in the world is so needed. All right, you're back.
Yeah, I'm getting way faster at it now that I figured it out. So yeah, so the complexes are a new initiative that we thought about. There's a lot of people doing housing, and they do individual facilities where they have
Oh
a
no.
spot.
Wait. You just broke up again. Are you there? Oh, he's coming back. What I think is also really cool is that QRFup is focused on removing the barriers to entry. And I know we just spoke about that, but he was just talking about there's a lot of people doing housing. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things to help other people, which is beautiful. The more help, the better. Everybody needs support. Everybody, like myself included. Welcome back.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah. So I don't know what you caught,
You were
but it was.
talking about how there's a lot of people doing housing, which I think was really cool, and then you dropped off.
It went crispy again. Can you hear me?
Oh no.
All right,
Are
hold
you
on.
there? Oh, he's coming back. This is how live shows go sometimes. We'll definitely have to have him back when there's not storms in Iowa. I also have been having internet problems. I've replaced my router. I've done everything possible to help my internet situation. So I don't know what's going on with Wi-Fi these days, but he has an actual excuse for what's happening. I am just really excited to be working with them, because it was a veteran Marine at my gym that made me realize that I needed to go to trauma therapy right as my integrative physician was about to approach me with the same thing, because my body wouldn't lose weight. I couldn't get out of survival mode despite EMDR. Welcome.
I hope it's not doing it again. All right,
All right.
perfect. So yeah, our whole initiative behind the hero complex is to be able to provide a, a place where families can come in and live together. So it'll be the whole family. They will all come in together, uh, children, spouses, whoever that significant other is to that veteran or first responder. They will come in, live with them for 2 years in this facility, where they will have a single family home or a multi-family home. They will be getting therapy on a daily, as well as uh, different resources like nutritional services. We'll provide meals for them. There's a gym on site. There will be equine therapy on site, so horse therapy, throttle therapy with different side by sides, snowmobiles, whatever that may be, that gets them out.
Hey, Ram. Hey, Ram. Sorry to do this to you. I just think it's still really cutting in and out. Maybe we should just reschedule this for a day that there's not storms. Oh, he just dropped off again. Maybe we'll see how it works, because he has some really good, valuable things to share here. And my whole thing is destigmatizing, trauma for the broader public. It's not just for veterans. And, for me personally, I never thought that what I'd been through was trauma, even though I was raised by two therapists. Welcome back.
Dang it! Is it still doing that?
It's good right now. Let's see how it goes. If not, we still want to have you on again when
No,
there's not
I went
storms.
back to it. I can hear it. It's doing it again. Can you hear it?
Oh no. So do you want to maybe we just do this when there's not storms? We'll have you on when you won't get interrupted. We could see your face and all of those things. How about that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Thank you so
It's
much
really
for
bad.
joining us.
Yeah,
We'll
sorry.
have to Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. So we're going to have Ram back another time. I do appreciate you coming on and joining us. If you want to book a How Are You Healing consulting intro call, please do so. Message me, go on ycoproject.com. As I mentioned before, all portions of proceeds from merch with a perp, that's purpose sales, will be going to QRFup. You can find that on ygoproject.com, shop merch with a perp. And you can also donate to QRFup in all of the I'll put the links in here, and you can see it across platforms, so you could donate and really support their cause, because what he has to say is so important. And Ram and I have been talking about this for months and years about how we were going to share our partnership publicly. So don't be a Richard to yourself and others, and please work with me with How Are You Healing Consulting. Book an intro call today. Thank you so much, and see you for next week with Owen Marcus, also focusing on men's work, functional men's work. How does that find out what functional men's work and functional fitness have in common? How are you healing? Don't be a Richard.